Welcome back, everybody. This is podcast number 10 of SwingBadder. That's BADDER. We aren't going alphabetical with our numbers because that's not numeric. That's why we don't do that. I'm your host, Brendan. Welcome to SwingBadder, where we talk about baseball contracts, bad contracts in general, and sports fun stuff. I'm with my two favorite people in the world. Dad, welcome.
I'm nice to be welcomed.
Happy to have you. And, of course, the best, the one and only Todd.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I got a burrito ready to go for as soon as we finish this thing.
Oh, is that the one where I don't want to know? A burrito to go.
Wow.
Probably.
Have we ever stepped up in importance? We now go over burritos? Whoa.
Listen, we're going to rank everything this week by burritos. We're going to decide if it's going to be a 1 burrito, a 2 burrito, or a 3 burrito contract. See if we can get to the coveted 5 burrito Gasmaster Express.
The only thing I want to see is I want to see if people would vote on Dad eating a burrito over pasta during the podcast. Because last time he wanted to eat a bowl of pasta, which I thought would be fantastic. I now think a burrito would be better, like enchilada style, and he has to use his hands. No napkins, hands only. I want to hear him eat while we're having a podcast because there's nothing better than while we're talking bad contracts, hearing Mr. Chompy in the background. It would be fantastic.
Dad, last time you were on, you're on the straight and narrow broccoli. What's Mom got you on now?
Right now, tonight it was frozen pizza, so I'm just living the high life.
Yes,
with real crust.
Yeah, not cauliflower. This is a real deal.
Oh,
so our budgets are through the roof. Burritos and frozen pizzas, folks. As you can say, we're still in college. We didn't leave, and it didn't leave us. And now it's time for our favorite time. Snuggle up to the fireplace, or as I would say back in the day to that transistor radio, it's time for Dad's story time, everybody. And Dad, what do you have for us in story time today?
Today's story time comes from 1974. Most people think when you play baseball that you either go into the field to play defense, or you pitch, or you bat. But in 1974, a major league player was in 105 games and didn't do one of those things. So I'll tell you the story. It works like this. Charlie Finley was the owner of the A's. He was a very creative, I'm being nice to him, a very creative owner, tried to do a lot of different things. And he thought it would be wonderful to sign a fellow by the name of Herb Washington, who had never played baseball in his life, but he was a track and field competitor setting records in the 50 and 60-yard dash in 1972. And he thought, I will get this guy to be a pinch runner. So Herb Washington got in 105 games. He would show up. He didn't own a glove. He would get his uniform, and when a slow runner got on first, they would put him on to pinch run. And in the season, I got my statistics right here, Herb stole 31 bases. However, he was caught 17 times, and he only scored 33 runs. He actually went to the World Series that year, so even though Charlie was creative, he had a pretty decent team, and he did not steal a base or score a run in the World Series. That was the end of his career. And they said what would happen is he would show up, put his uniform on, sit in the dugout. If he got in the game and the inning ended, he took a shower and went home. He didn't care if they won or lost or whatever. He did what he got paid for. And that Herb Washington is in Major League Almanac as playing in 105 games without a single at-bat, put out, assist, or pitch thrown. And I call him the player who never played. Welcome to Herb Washington, 1974. That's the story of the day.
Finn, that's fantastic. I think of a lot of people I work with that are similar to that story, that just never bring any tools to the game, but they're still getting paid. And then they leave before the end of the shift.
Wait a second.
They show
Hold
up
a
late. I like everything about this guy.
I love this guy. This guy's great. What do you mean never brought any tools to the game? He was the specialized sub before specialized subs existed. His nickname was Hurricane Herb. You want to know why? Number one, he was fast, right? But you didn't know if he was going to cause damage or just be something fun you talk about later. That's why they called him Hurricane Herb, right? I mean, how do you, he gets thrown out 17 times. I don't know.
Can we talk about
somebody'd sit there and have a conversation with him about when to go and when to not go?
Well, my question was when
he's always going.
My question is when they took the team photo, number one, is he even in it? And number two, 30 years later, when they look at it, does every player in the team say, who's that guy? I don't remember him at all.
I would argue that he is actually the salesman of today's era. He shows up, brings the donuts, because I guarantee you, the fatter you got, the more he played. So he's bringing you food to eat, because I can tell you the 1974 men's special was not a good specimen. These men in baseball were not known for being athletic. They're a little beefy, smoked a little bit. He probably brought smokes, alcohol, donuts, and he handed it out to everybody else and was like, I'm playing today. Look at these guys. They can't do it. There's a lot you can do. What was his 1-year deal?
Oh, I never got the money. I should have looked that up. I'm sorry.
1974. I bet you did he get a Cadillac out of it? Did he get like special incentives if he stole a certain amount of bases? Of course, agents were creative back then, so it probably wasn't that. So they made it to the World Series. Did they win it all?
Geez, I got to look that up. I don't know, but I do know that.
I'm ruining story time, kids, with stories from the first grader who's like, I have to go to the bathroom.
He was originally interested in the Baltimore Colts. He did a tryout with them, and he wasn't even interested in baseball. He was going to sign with the Detroit Steel.
I do remember somebody taught when I talked about story, somebody said, was Moonlight Graham a true person? In Field of Dreams, Moonlight Graham never got to bat. Moonlight Graham was actually a true person. But he actually played in the field for a half an inning and never batted, and then his career ended. But Herb Washington never played in the field. He just sat on a bench, went to first base, went as far as he could, and he probably never showered. He just probably went home.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Why would you shower if you're that kind of a specimen who can run that fast? He's like a gazelle back in the day. He's like that silver bullet guy for the Braves. He's literally the silver bullet guy that runs around and beats all the fans. He got signed by a professional team. It's fantastic.
Well, the Mets signed a guy this year that's only known for stealing bases. Was it Gore? Yeah.
No. Yeah, he's like 5 feet 2 inches tall.
Isn't it that big fat guy that everybody loves?
Oh, that's Vogelbach. What are you talking about?
That guy needs a stolen base like Pujols steals bases. Let's go.
Speaking of burritos.
He did steal a base though in the playoffs. I think.
He did.
Stop.
Vogelbach did.
I think he was the second.
Was the pitcher warming up?
Well, wasn't he the second guy on a double steal?
Well, that's like the second guy on a double date. Come on, anybody can get that. if you get a call from your friend and he says, "Hey, I gotta get a second date because the girl I want to date needs a guy to take her friend out." Just know what you are. Just know what you are. Speaking of double dates and being called, I think that's a good transition to the worst two teams or the off-season two teams that you're looking forward to that nobody else is. Todd, give me one team on your list that no one's going to write about what they're doing in the off-season because no one expects them to do anything. And furthermore, when they do sign someone and spend money, everyone's going to go, why? Who's your team? Who's your first team?
Who's the team that if they sign somebody for a lot of money, everybody's going to go, why?
Who's the team that nobody cares for this offseason? Yeah, the crappy team that's just going to spend money.
The team that nobody cares for and everybody's afraid to admit it is Miami. Number one, because nobody in the world will ever forgive Miami for the monstrosity that they put in the outfield when they built that new stadium, because that was really grotesque. The colors of which have been burned onto my psyche so much that I will never, ever, ever in my life be able to appreciate a Miami Marlins game because of that. So just by virtue of the fact that the Miami Marlins had a grotesque multicolored sculpture in the outfield, which has since been, I think it's been banned to the parking lot at this point. And no player should ever go to Miami. Number one, if you win a World Series, nobody's going to care. Number two, if you win a World Series, the team will immediately be disbanded and sold off like the stripped parts on a car that ended up in the bad part of Los Angeles, not Burrito all over the floor. I'm so angry about this. The Miami Marlins are one burrito.
So I'm not going to disagree with you that the Miami Marlins are not a team that...
I'm lowering my seat. That's why I'm so angry about the burrito.
That Miami is not a team that I would say in that division, they have the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, Miami. No one's going to say, who did Miami sign this year to compete with those teams? So good call. I think we'll have to follow them for sure. Dad, what team would you pick?
Oh, by the way, that Miami pick of the team nobody cares about, that is an evergreen pick. In 2023, when we do this same exact podcast, you can play that segment over and over again. 2024, 2025. Every single year, the team nobody cares about signing anybody will always be Miami. I don't care. Unless all the new crypto bros who moved to Miami, who didn't lose all their money, want to buy a team and actually do something with it.
The crypto Miamis. That'll be interesting. Miami crypto.
Miami cryptos.
The Miami crypto.
The Miami cryptos.
I would like. Do they just play computer baseball then? Dad, what's your team? Who's your team that nobody even talks about?
I just have to comment. Miami also, I think, is the team that turned Derek Jeter, an absolute winner, into a loser for the first time in his life. He never lost anything. And then he went to Miami and he tasted defeat. I have two. I have
Mariano Rivera go in with him on that deal?
I don't know. No, don't blame that on Mariano.
No, Mariano Rivera is now selling cars.
I'll bet he sells a lot of them because he does everything well.
Of course he is.
You want to know why?
Because he's a
Lenny Dykstra got in his head.
How could Lenny Dykstra influence anybody?
Every day, I ask, what would Lenny do when I wake up? And I immediately put tobacco in my mouth. And that's how I start my day. Dad, what do you got?
We sell those bracelets in the merch store. WWLD, what would Lenny do?
Go to the bathroom.
That quickly, before I start, reminds me of a story from Moneyball that Billy Beane was a minor leaguer at Mets spring training. So was Lenny Dykstra. And the two of them were watching Steve Carlton warm up, Hall of Fame pitcher, left-hander. And Dykstra staring at him, and he said, "Who's the big lefty?" And Billy Beane said, "That's Steve Carlton." And Dykstra said, "I could pound him." Dykstra had extreme confidence. It didn't matter, left-hander, whatever, he could hit him. Anyway, that's the Lenny Dykstra story. I have two teams. First one is Kansas City. Kansas City is just like sweet cream yogurt. It just is there. Nobody really wants it. It just is there. And Kansas City is just there. You can't hate them. I can't go screaming about them like Miami. They're just, them. Yeah, okay. It's like the guy who shows up to a party and you forgot you invited him. It's just kind of like that's what Kansas City is. The other one is.
Hold on. This segment is about.
Did he bring anything to the party?
Who would you call for a double date? Kansas City answers that call every time. You mean you got a girl I can go out with? Absolutely. Todd, you agree with Kansas City?
He's not a bad guy.
He's kind of like Flounder from Animal House. He provides the car so you could go on the road trip. And, he's like, hey, can you get 3 dates for my friends? And Flounder's the kid in the back seat. And he's like,
Yeah, He's a guy that they left at the
Always.
bar and forgot he ever came with them. So
I have no
anyways,
problem with ripping Kansas City because they beat the Mets in the World Series.
my 1A though is the Detroit Tigers, who just kind of just stuck in mud. They can't seem to get, no matter what they do, you just know it's not going to work. So they're my second one. And am I wrong, or does that guy who banged on the trash cans in Houston manage them? Hinch. Does he manage the Tigers?
AJ has to manage. This year he has to figure out what to do with Miguel Cabrera because he's still there, I believe, for another year. And then he has to figure out what to do with Javier Baez. There you go, AJ. Good luck. That's without 10 home runs you have to manage.
Yeah. Without garbage.
He has to figure out what he has to do with Javier Baez.
Yeah, he just has to reinvent the garbage can tactic, something else. So the Detroit Tigers.
Speaking of garbage cans,
the Detroit Tigers, I, as a SwingBadder host, am very interested in them. So you have my interest. The Kansas City Royals, sure, they're reliable for a signing here or there. But the Detroit Tigers are going to burn somebody's MLB fortunes by picking them and paying them money to waste away in Detroit. I do enjoy when Major League Baseball opens up the season when in Detroit and Minnesota and outdoor stadiums, and every player does not even want to hit the ball because it hurts so much. Yes, Detroit's a good pick. I like it.
How about Detroit as a home for our favorite Cody Bellinger? Would that be a good home for him?
I think that he's going to sign a 1-year deal, and I don't think he's going to go anywhere east. He's looking on the West Coast. He'll gladly go to the Rockies to rejuvenate his career because the Rockies are always there for you if you ever need money. But we'll see. Todd, do you agree with the Tigers? Are you watching them as a SwingBadder host? Do you like it?
I want to see. I think the Tigers they're kind of like Mad Max right now. They're in the wasteland and they don't know how they're going to get out of it because they're stuck in these bad contracts. There's a couple teams that are stuck in like what I'm going to call like the Mad Max wasteland, where until they dump some of the baggage they've got on their payroll, they're really just buying time and hoping people will come to watch sausages race each other on the field, because at the end of the day, they got nothing to offer. Detroit's one of those teams. It's just, nothing's gonna land for them for a while.
Todd, as you talk about that, a cousin to that has to be the Cubs. They just let Jason Hayward go, and they're eating the last year of his contract. They're paying him to go away. They just let their catcher, pretty good catcher, Contreras, they're not going to sign him. The Cubs are like purging. So that's what it looks like.
Is that what Epstein? Is Epstein still there? Epstein's still the general manager there, or did he leave?
No. I think he bought a pickleball team.
It's probably worth more than Miami.
Todd, who's your second team? You have Miami. Who's the second team on your list?
Oh God, I got to pick a second team.
Yeah, well, I think we can pick about 10 or 12, but yeah, you got to pick a second team.
Jeez, I have to think hard about this because there are teams I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I could go a whole baseball season and not even look at anything in Colorado. I mean, that's.
You could open your phone and see what teams there are, see which ones you forgot.
I feel like that's cheating. Like if you're going to do a podcast about baseball, you should know baseball teams, right? And at least have an opinion about them.
Why, you think that people expect us to know something?
Cincinnati is one of those teams where it's like, I feel like I'm picking on them, but who hasn't? I mean, the reality, it's Cincinnati, right? I mean, like, they got Votto, right? Joey.
Yes, they do.
Holy cow. Yeah, wake me up when you move across the river to Kentucky.
I think a sad story of a city with a great stadium and a great history is the Pirates. But they got nothing. And they're not...
They just got Choi as a first baseman.
Wow. That'll be the mound.
That's going to sell 5 jerseys. Pirates we got rid of Bell, but we got Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got rid of a player, which means what? Don't get him.
Right.
If Tampa Bay is done with you, it means you are officially done.
I can see planning to play the Pirates saying, "Don't pitch to Choi. He'll kill us." He's like,
whatever Bonds. You do, you don't let that guy beat us.
That's right.
Oh, Lord. So the honorable mentions, we have Pirates, Cubs, Cincinnati, and Miami made the list for you. I don't disagree with either of those. Then we also have...
Is the Central just brutal?
The Cubs, Cincinnati, and Pirates. So the Cardinals, literally, all they have to do is field a 70-year-old Albert Pujols and they win.
No, in Milwaukee, Milwaukee and the Cardinals, right?
So a two-team division, similar to the AL Central, because Cleveland will win that every year with one player, the best ever, Jose Ramirez.
Oh, so no. The White Sox.
You think getting rid of Tony La Russa was the biggest deal this year for them?
Absolutely. They're going to win without La Russa.
After they give $25 million to Abreu?
I don't think they're going to sign him, which they'll regret, but we'll see.
No, you know where he's got a bunch of places he could end up for $25 million if we're still riding that train. Anthony Rizzo just signed with the Yankees for $40 million for 2 years.
We're waiting for you to talk about that.
Yep. You want to
I don't need to brag. I don't need to brag about the fact that I called Kershaw for 1 year, $20 million. I don't need to brag about that. It's all documented. It's all out there. I don't need to brag about Rizzo staying with the Yankees. You just have to look at the demographics, and that's it. It all works out.
So I'll throw out. I know we had the Colorado Rockies mentioned honorably. I think there's a couple more teams we could certainly look at. I don't think anyone's interested in them because they're in LA and they aren't going to get any news because they never make the playoffs. And that's why SwingBadder should definitely be a advertiser at the LA Angels Stadium. Because if there was ever a team that spent more money and didn't do it, never went anywhere with it, and then you have
Did you see what they did today?
I would love to know what they did today.
The Dodgers had a pitcher at 31 years old who had a great year. His name is Kyle Anderson. He went 15-5, 2.70 ERA. In the playoffs, pitched the best game of any Dodger, and of course, the manager pulled him in the fourth or fifth inning when he hadn't allowed a run, and they lost the game.
Love Dave Roberts.
The Dodgers looked at this 31-year-old who's had one good year, and they offered him $19 million for 1 year. Nope.
Tyler Anderson, right?
Yeah, Kyle Anderson. The Angels came in with $39 million for 3 years. So there you go.
Yes, thank you. The Angels will always they know where to go. When the starting pitching is going away and you need to focus on relief pitching, the Angels are right there to focus on starting pitching. All they need to do is sign a DH now. Just sign a DH, Angels, because you need a DH. That's what you need to sign.
I can't figure out if this signing is good or bad.
How many burritos? How many burritos can you rate this?
Tyler Anderson, he's an ERA of 2.57, right? He got a whip of 1.002, right? His WAR is 4.3, $13 million a year. Mm-hmm. I would do that deal. What's wrong with that?
What's his history prior to this year?
Where did he play before the Dodgers? Where the Dodgers helped win everything?
He was in Seattle.
Uh-huh. What's his ERA?
Yeah. His ERA in Seattle was, oh, God.
Thank you, Angels. This is great. The burrito's coming up, everybody. The burrito is coming up. Here it comes. Are we all ready? Is it going through his
4.81.
Yeah, 39.
So he went to the Dodgers. They taught him how to throw a spitball for 1 year, and now he's going to make the Angels pay him.
That's great.
That's Kyle Anderson.
That's a burrito deal.
Yeah, I think so.
Burrito deal. Holy cow. Did LA Angels Did the LA Angels not look at the internet?
They don't have the interweb. They don't.
It's
They
like
don't have dial up.
betting on a. It's like betting on a horse that won its last race, but never finished
Dear
higher
Lord.
than sixth in the other races.
Does he come with a case of Tums?
I'll tell you right now. What is it? Okay, SwingBadder predictions for Mr. Anderson. He's on the Angels next year. Does he even get 10 wins?
He'll get
No.
hurt.
He'll get hurt.
That's what happened.
He's out.
How about this?
He's in Vegas right now, going woo.
No. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
buddy.
I'll give you this one. ERA over under 3.33.
Over. It's not even close. If you would have said 4, I would have had to think about it. 3-3 over. He has to face his division is so hard. He has to face Oakland 35 times. Then he has to face the Astros.
Oakland.
Those two powerhouses alone will account for 5 losses each.
In LA, you face. Well, you want to know. You know
Dad,
what I was thinking?
all Oakland's gonna do is get scrappers up there who will take
Holy
pitchers,
cow.
and Anderson won't be able to hit the strike zone, and he'll walk everybody.
Can we put a chart up?
Seattle. How about Seattle?
Tyler Anderson.
Oh,
Tyler
Seattle
Anderson
can't wait
is
for him
the
to come back.
first. Tyler Anderson is the first legitimate swing batter free agent signing of 2023.
Hold on, here's the best part. They
Put the stamp
ran
on
to
that
him.
one.
They ran to him. That was not
Didn't
like,
even wait.
hey, excuse me, do you have a starting pitcher? They're like, oh yeah, we'll get you. We'll get 39. That's a deal. If you're any of these 35 plus year old Verlander's, like he got 13 for 3 years. Come on now.
Did you read about Verlander today? He says that
No.
he thinks there's lucrative deal to be made with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Why not Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander will bring back the garbage cans? This is going to work.
Listen, I talk to Yankees fans. I know Yankees fans. I love Yankees fans. I've grown to love Yankees fans. You want to know why? Because they recognize that they are now victims like the New York Mets. So, in talking to Yankees fans today, one of the things they were talking about with Rizzo signing with the Yankees, they said, this means that Judge is coming because they know Rizzo's going to stay with the Yankees because they know Judge is going to be there. And I said, I don't know if that's actually why he signed.
Yeah.
Because they thought he could have gotten more than $20 million, but he took the $20 million because he wanted to give them a chance to sign Judge.
Well, there was something today about Judge and the Yankees where they want to make him a Yankee for life. If the Yankees say that, I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
I would ask for a percent of the team. I will be a Yankee for life. You just need to give me a percent of the team like Trout got of the Angels, which is why they made literally. Can we just go back? At least the Yankees will make the playoffs next year. The Angels are literally a coffin team. They're drilling nails into their coffin, proactively telling Trout, hey, no playoffs again for you, buddy. So sorry.
They get an E for effort. Tyler Anderson's a lefty. He's a lefty in our new no lefty shift world.
Yeah, is he going to be a relief pitcher or a starter?
Well, they want him as a starter.
He's a starting pitcher.
He's got to be a starter.
He won't be.
He's got to be a starter.
So he's going to be a starter with an over 4 ERA, over a 1.5 WHIP. He's going to be terrible in that division. I'm just so happy that the Angels are so consistent with their terribleness, and for that, I am thankful.
I have a question. I have a question for you experts about the shift. You know, we've seen that lefties against lefties is pretty effective. Left-handed pitcher against left-handed batter. Does that change at all now that there's no shift? Does it make it a little bit better for the batter?
Yeah, I think I told this to Todd last episode. I think guys like Harper, numbers go crazy. There are lefties
Bellinger?
I don't
think Bellinger's going to go crazy. I think the lefties that are hitting in the high 200s and have home run power just got a lot more lethal. And I guarantee you one thing, Carlos Santana is not done. And that's not the band, everybody. That is the man who played for the Cleveland Guardians this year and was traded by Kansas City. I mean, dropped by Kansas City and then picked up by Cleveland because Cleveland's always looking for a deal. And they went there and they got Cleveland to get Carlos Santana, who then was mashing to left field. He won't steal bases, but he will mash. He'll get a 2-year deal from somebody because Carlos Santana has got more baseball left.
Guess what?
Come on, Rockies.
The starting pitcher signings for free agents are not over yet because Texas Rangers have to get in, right?
Oh, they got to get way. John Gray was such a great signing. How do you follow up that vanilla scoop of ice cream?
You follow that up with the festive sprinkling of Martin Perez for 1 year at $19.6 million.
He is.
Well, I think for the audience, for a large audience of thousands, we need to explain who Martin Perez is and what his numbers are like.
He's a left-handed pitcher, again, a lefty for Texas, okay? Again, last year, 2.89 ERA, 12 wins for Texas.
How many innings?
He had 196 innings, that's rock star level.
He pitched a lot. That's a lot. Today's era, that is a lot.
12 wins on Texas is good.
Yeah, and let's look at his ERA in 2021.
That was my next question.
I don't think you want to go back.
Burrito time.
4.74.
Uh-oh. Did they sign him for one? How many years did they give Martin Perez?
1 year. That was the smart part. They said, we'll give you 1 year at $19 million. They're not giving him 3 years at $13 million. So Martin Perez has to prove himself.
They got money left to go after Jacob deGrom.
I love the Rangers.
True.
The Rangers and the Angels should battle it off. It would be so great if Oakland beat them in that division. Oh, can I dream? Can the little boy dream again? Oakland, you can do it.
Are we going to name one
in Texas?
Are we going to name one of these teams before we end to be the team that's going to go and sign Joey Gallo, 180 hitter with hundreds of strikeouts?
So if I'm Joey Gallo, if I'm Joey Gallo's agent, I say, listen, to resurrect my career without the shift, get the craptacular Colorado Rockies to give me a deal. The ball flies out of that ballpark. I'll hit 50 home runs. I'll bat 221, and everyone will think I'm amazing.
Times.
I'll be the reason they finish 5th in that division. And then everyone will say, that Gallo guy is really good. We should probably pick him up. I would say a bigger team for more years, but I do Gallo for the Rockies. I think that would be a good fit.
However, that doesn't fit my rule that an Italian guy in baseball has to either play in New York or Florida. And the Marlins are looking. So
I'll promise you.
You don't think he's going to go back? He's not going to go back to the Yankees, you don't say, huh?
He's not going to Tampa. He is not going to Tampa because Tampa is actually smart. He's never going to Tampa.
Can you imagine at Tampa if you're the coach and you're trying to tell him to lay off balls? If you're like, I want you to not swing. He's like, what? What do you? That's all. I have 3 pitches. I need to swing every time. He's fantastic. So yeah, I think Joey's definitely going to get signed. I don't think the Yankees bring him back. But we'll see how it works out. So I think we've just about exhausted the terrible teams. We'll be talking more about them. As you heard, the Angels are continuing to perform. The Rockies, we're watching you. And again, we look forward to your comments. We look forward to your suggestions. We thank you for coming to SwingBadder. Check out the site. We're always posting terrible contracts up there for you to vote on. See which ones are the worst. And that's SwingBadder. That's BADDER. We're going to post that wonderful story time with Dad. You'll be able to check that out on the website too. Get some more details, some more information on that. And
somebody
Todd,
tell me.
What do you got, Dad? Closing remarks.
Somebody write in and tell me where Joey Gallo's going. I got to know this.
Yeah, you got to get some subscribers too. If you got to subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe. Somebody asked me today. They're like, "How much does it cost to subscribe?" It costs nothing. However, you can do your Christmas shopping here. Listen, I want to close with this thoughtful tweet from Jose Canseco.
Oh, hold on.
All right.
Let's set the mood. Set the mood, kids. Jose Canseco, deep thoughts. Here we go. Dad, you got your pen ready?
Deep thoughts from Jose Canseco. And Jose Canseco, now that Elon Musk is running Twitter, you need to get back on and giddy up. From Jose. The future of our world will be controlled by superhumans. They will have multiple genetic structures. I'll leave you with that, SwingBadder.
Just want everyone to know, SwingBadder, Lenny Dykstra, Jose Canseco, 2024, make it happen. We believe it. We believe it. And if you do anything at work, do it as hard as Lenny Dykstra did with tobacco. That's all I'm saying.
I love you guys. I give this show 5 burritos.
5 burritos. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Todd. And thank you for the brothers that haven't joined us. We still appreciate you. All right, that's it. Episode number 10. We out.
Bye, everyone.